West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Welcome to our special edition of The Splash Live and the MegaCast. I'm Dave Scott in our Splash Live studios. Tyler Keefe is off this week, and as a result, we've merged our two shows into one. Hopefully, you're enjoying what we're doing, and we thank you very much for tuning in to this extended version of The Splash and the MegaCast. The one thing that hasn't changed, super easy to watch our programming across a variety of platforms, and that includes Civic Center TV on cable. You can find us on Channel 15, where we've been for over 20 years, Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. Also very easy to check our programming and a bunch of extra content available on the web, and you can go to civiccentertv.com. You'll find our archives, you'll find our program schedule, and a whole lot more. So tune in right there to civiccentertv.com. Social media, sure, we enhance it all so you can follow us even when you're not in front of your television. Facebook and YouTube, look for Civic Center TV. We're already and Lakes at Bloomfield Hills and in West Bloomfield. So that one of those two radio stations will cover you primarily wherever you happen to be. So wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, however you're today, thank you very much for being with us. First of all, let's take a look at the weather. And, it just still feels like February, but that's going to change really quick. We're off to our final day now, this cold, windy, rainy weather. And it's starting out pretty poor. It is going to improve as the day goes on. Still be pretty windy. It's only going to get up to 52 degrees or so today, but we'll still of a little bit of rain. Hopefully it'll take into the afternoon. And great news, 61 degrees and sunshine tomorrow, and on Friday even better. Even today, Wednesday, so tomorrow would be Thursday, and then that day on the bottom should say Friday, but that's okay. And then 64 degrees for Friday, and not so bad as we headed to the weekend. Bottom line, regardless of the traffic, the weather is going to be getting absolutely better. Hey, we have a fantastic show lined up for you. It starts, of course, talking about some sad news of passing of Gordon Lightfoot. And for most of us that grew up in the 70s, an absolute icon, very his iconic recording of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Yesterday, as reported in the Detroit Free Press, a very, very emotional moment downtown Detroit at the Old Mariners Church, where they always ring the bell every year, as it is depicted in Gordon Lightfoot's song. The ringing of the bells for those who passed away in the Edmund Fitzgerald. Yesterday, they rang an additional bell for Gordon Lightfoot. A moving day yesterday, right here in Metro Detroit. One of my very good radio friends, Kevin O'Neill, we're going to check in with him. And Kevin, you probably hear him in the afternoon on WJR as part of the Mitch Albom Show. He's worked at a ton of radio stations here and around the Midwest, and just one of the nicest guys in radio. And he knows that era of music, the 70s and 60s music, better than anybody. If you hear him talking about music on WJR in the afternoon from 5 to 7 with Mitch, you'll know what I'm talking about. But he's going to check in later on in the program. He met Gordon Lightfoot numerous times. He was with Gordon Lightfoot when there were concerts here in Detroit, and knows the whole history, the influence of Canadian music. Gordon Lightfoot, of course, Canadian, on us in Metro Detroit and around the state of Michigan, and a whole lot more. I don't know anyone better to talk to about the legacy of Gordon Lightfoot than Kevin O'Neill. So we'll do that later on in the program. Also, in Lansing, they're working on keeping in place a law that will allow you to take a beverage from the restaurant, an alcoholic beverage from the restaurant or any other establishment where they serve alcoholic beverages, and take it with you. That became a big thing during COVID when we were carrying out our food, and now the lawmakers in Lansing are extending that. It's not quite signed and done, but it's moving through all the complexities of building a law, and we are going to check in with the executive director of the Michigan Licensed Beverage Association. Scott Ellis checks in with us in just a couple of minutes, and we'll get the lowdown on what's going on with that. So, big headline today, of course, yesterday was Election Day in many of our communities. You got out and voted, and in West Bloomfield, the West Bloomfield School District, you approved a proposed $148 million bond issue that will extend for 10 years. 58% voted yes, 42 opposed. We are going to talk to the superintendent of schools of West Bloomfield tomorrow. For this morning, I have this written statement. It says, on behalf of the West Bloomfield School District Board of Education, students and staff, to you, the voters, thank you very much for your support of the 2023 bond initiative. As a result of its successful package, the district will be able to focus on building a brighter future for our students. Bond funding will allow the district to enhance elementary programming, create dedicated early childhood spaces, improve STEM and CTE spaces at the high school, and improve the overall efficiency and safety in our district. And taking a look at the elections around the state of Michigan and around Metro Detroit, most of the school issues did pass here in our elections yesterday. The challenge was some of the other issues, and in Kegle Harbor, it was a challenge yesterday, and the proposed charter amendment to increase the police millage was rejected yesterday in Kegle Harbor. It was rejected in a 57 to 43% vote. Voters opposed replacing an existing 3.62 mills for the police millage ending in 2026, and it would have increased 7 mills in over 7 years. If you're in Kegle, you know all the issues. There's been a ton of discussion. This is the second time that has failed. We will do our best to get a hold of officials in Kegle over the next couple of days and see if we can have some discussion about what the plans are going down the road. Congratulations to our friends in downtown Farmington on meeting all the performance standards required to receive the 2023 National Accreditation from Main Street America. And the annual accreditation recognizes exceptional management and commitment to economic vitality, design, preservation of historic downtowns and commercial districts. So congratulations, downtown Farmington. If you've not been to downtown Farmington, it's great. It's one of our classic now urban or suburban, what used to be rural downtowns. And yeah, they just do a great job in downtown Farmington. So glad to see them get that recognition. And again, congratulations. If you are looking for a job, especially in the nonprofit sector, this is important news for you. Big event going on today at the Jewish Community Center until 12 noon. Over 100 job opportunities are up for grabs, whether you're a recent college graduate or a seasoned professional. These positions are perfect for anyone looking to take the next step in their career. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Again, as you can see on your screen, Career Expo today until noon, so you better get rolling. If you're looking for a job, you've got that QR code on the screen right next to me, right over there. It's over there. It's over there. There it is. There it is. Okay. That's hard to do. You should try to do that. It's right there. Scan that with your phone. You'll get all the information. But bottom line, you can see it right here on your screen, and a great opportunity for you to maybe find a new job, especially in the nonprofit sector. It is a big day in Walled Lake. The Walled Lake Farmers Market returns for the season. It is running now until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, as you can see, and a lot of freebies and extra good stuff today at the Walled Lake Farmers Market, as it is the opening of the Farmers Market season. The Farmers Market is open every Wednesday from 8 until 2 o'clock in Walled Lake. Today there's going to be free cookies from Nino's Bakery. Sounds like a good enough reason to go. Crafts for the kids. There'll also be music, long games, story time, more crafts, and food trucks. Hopefully, hopefully they'll get through it with all the rainy weather and none of that stuff will not be there. But you can go by and check it out. It's all going on at the Walled Lake Public Safety Campus. That is on Maple Road, just west of Decker Road. And if you're heading to Walled Lake and you're not immediately familiar with the area, Decker Road is just a little bit west of M5. So that's going on in Walled Lake. Congratulations, Walled Lake, having the farmers market back. And hopefully people from all of our neighboring communities will come over. And if they can't make it this week, we'll make it to some upcoming Wednesday. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much for joining us. Good morning. I'm Dave Scott. You're watching an extended version of The Splash, and it includes the MegaCast, part of our hour and a half of live local TV commitment we're keeping to you, even if Tyler isn't here today. So thank you very much for being a part of it. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
How can you get involved with upcoming elections? West Bloomfield Township wants you to join the ranks as an election inspector. Get trained on using polling equipment, proper procedures for handling ballots, and more to keep the voting process smooth and safe. If you're interested, go to wbtownship.org for more information or call the clerk's office with the number provided on screen. This community update from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Like what you see? Beautiful works of art, masterworks of metal, and accomplishments of artistry will be on display near you. All kinds of artists from all walks of life come together to celebrate their skill and appreciate their work's beauty. Hot Works presents the 2023 Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Stop by July 29th and 30th between 2 and 10 p.m. between Powers and Daly off of Orchard Lake Road.
Good morning and welcome back to our special edition of The Splash Live and the MegaCast. I'm Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. Tyler Keefe is out today. So news from the Chaldean Community Foundation. Earlier this week, the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce and the Chaldean Community Foundation announced their big plans as they plan to acquire property at 2075 Walnut Lake Road right here in West Bloomfield for a brand new, or at least updated, Chaldean Community Center. The chamber, I believe, is going to be located there. It's going to be the community center as well. Once renovated, the building will be home to the chamber. Yes, that is true, and include a business incubator, a workforce training area, really a radio and podcast studio. And maybe we'll have to go over and check it out. That'll be great. Maybe we can do our show there. A television studio, a theater, a community demonstration kitchen, and resources for cultural awareness and other things. Absolutely fantastic. Why not build a radio and TV and streaming studio, and they can do a show just like this? It's a great idea. So that is going to be happening. You could see it is at the former location of the Corners. I drove by there yesterday, Walnut Lake Road, just west of Inkster Road, yeah, that's going to be a great use of that building. There's been some other uses of that building over those last several years, but that's going to be great. $10 million renovation, excellent location, right in the heart of our communities here, and we wish the Chaldean community the very best of luck with that new effort, and look forward to getting over there and seeing how that is coming along when they get to work and they get it done. So this gives me, as I do this transition, a great opportunity to say what an amazing, diverse community we live in and how great that is and how we get to celebrate that. And I do so by letting you know about a huge program going on tonight at Temple Israel. Barry Weiss will be here in town, and Mitch Albom is going to be there. And of course, Mitch Albom, columnist, sports person, WJR radio personality extraordinaire, and certainly one of the world's best recognized authors. Tuesday with Maury, ... And by the way, he's finishing another book right now. And Barry Weiss of equal fame, if not greater. She, of course, is a noted columnist from the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. She also publishes her own information right now, and they're going to be talking about anti-Semitism. And you know, it comes at a critical time for us here in our area, especially after the incident in Royal Oak last Friday where a swastika was painted on the wall along with some other graffiti at a Jewish community center in Royal Oak. So clearly anti-Semitism is an issue. Hate is an issue amongst all of our groups here in our area, and universally, it's something that we hope begins to go away and be curtailed. Tonight, a discussion about all of this, especially as it relates to anti-Semitism. Barry Weiss, Mitch Albom, great program. You can still go tonight, and I really advise you to do it. I'm going to make every effort to be there myself. Hopefully we'll talk to both of them tonight and have some video for you tomorrow here on the show. But it's going to be a great program. There are tickets still available for the program, and I believe there, at least as of yesterday, there were some tickets that were available for the Afterglow program tonight, 7:30 to 9:30 at Temple Israel. That's on Walnut Lake Road, I don't know, about a half a mile or maybe a little bit more west of Orchard Lake Road. And there is the URL to get all the information. It's temple-israel.org, and you go in there and you can find out about tickets, make your reservations for tonight. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of folks there, and good discussions going on the stage, and hopefully some good, helpful discussions amongst those in attendance afterwards. Afterglow, of course, with Barry Weiss and Mitch Albom. Maybe get a chance to say hello, get an autograph, get a book. I'm sure at least Barry will have books there. So it should be a great evening, and we thank both of them for taking time to talk about this critical issue here in our community. Again, tonight, Barry Weiss, Mitch Albom, Temple Israel. We hope you make it 7:30. Go online and get your tickets. 48th District Court has a program. We've been mentioning it. This is the final time, final opportunity, at least from us, to find out about the late fee forgiveness program that they have at the 48th District Court. If you've been late in paying a civil infraction, including a parking ticket, a traffic ticket, maybe some building code violation, now you have a chance to lift that burden, get the guilt off your shoulders, and forgetting all that for a second, not have to pay some big fines for late fees. You're going to have to pay, of course, the main fine, but after that, you're going to be, as Dave Scott likes to say, scot-free. So go ahead, get connected with the 48th District Court. Telephone number is 248-686-5150, 248-686-5150. They've got all the information there for you, and we'll tell you how to take care of that problem, all right? We're going to take another brief break. We'll be back with more. Thank you very much for tuning in. You're watching a special edition of the Splash Live and the MegaCast. I'm Dave Scott. We'll be right back.
Like what you see? Beautiful works of art, masterworks of metal, and accomplishments of artistry will be on display near you. All kinds of artists from all walks of life come together to celebrate their skill and appreciate their work's beauty. Hot Works presents the 2023 Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Stop by July 29th and 30th between 2 and 10 p.m. between Powers and Daly off of Orchard Lake Road. Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Splash Live of the MegaCast, our special extended version. Tyler Keefe is off this week. Dave Scott, so good to be with you for both of these shows. Thank you for tuning in and listening on all of our outlets, on our cable outlets, on our radio outlets. Thanks again to the Biff 88.1 and our own Lakes FM. You could tune in on the radio as you're heading out the door. And we hope you enjoy our broadcast this morning. Don't forget, we're also on CivicCenterTV.com, and we enjoy you tuning in there. So wherever you are, streaming, however you get to us, that is great. So big change going on in Lansing, or at least an update going on in Lansing that will preserve the ability for you to carry out a beverage from the restaurant, and I mean an adult beverage from the restaurants or some of the other establishments you're going to. Joining us now with an update on what's going on in Lansing on this issue from the Michigan Licensed Beverage Association, the Executive Director, Scott Ellis. Scott, good morning. Thank you very much for joining me today. How you doing?
Good morning, Dave. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So it's a little confusing. Now, take us back. When COVID kicked in and we were all doing carry out and everybody was staying at home, the governor and maybe the legislature or the governor got together with the legislature and they passed a rule, a temporary rule that would let us carry out beverages. Can you tell us about that and then how that's transitioning into what they're working on now?
Sure. So, prior to COVID, bars or restaurants that had what was called an SDM license, and especially designated merchant license, could sell beer or wine to go in its original package. But obviously, with the increased demand during COVID for people doing a lot of carry out, the restaurants being closed, we were able to work with the legislature and Governor Whitmer to get drinks to go set up and passed by the legislature. But in that legislation, they put a sunset, which means it ends at a certain time frame. And they wanted to see if there are any problems or any issues. So what we're doing currently is we have a bill going through House Bill 4021 from Representative Grant in Grand Rapids that is going to make this permanent. So the sunset is being removed.
Well, that's good news. So basically, now we're not telling people to get in their car and be drinking on the way home. I mean, we all have to be smart. But Scott, if this is still available and we're going to renew it, on some level, that means the Michiganders have done a pretty good job managing this new privilege, and it hasn't been causing problems. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
And Dave, you're right. That's exactly what it is. They wanted to make sure there were not any increased problems of open alcohol in vehicles and things like that. And there's been zero cases of any issues from this. And if you think about it, it's really no different than going to a store and buying something that's sealed and getting into your car. And so with this, what it is, and I can use an example of LS Teco in East Lansing created this margarita. They're known for their margaritas and their food. And it's in a nice bottle. It looks almost like a bottle that you'd buy, at the store. And it's a pre-made margarita. They make up, they seal it, and you can order it with your nachos and whatever. You can pick it up or have it delivered.
So that was my next question. This works for like the Uber Eats and the other delivery services of the world as well. Because, listen, COVID changed some things, and you can argue whether it's good or bad. I guess it depends on, where you sit. But a lot of people are taking advantage of this new home delivery, and it's nice now. You can get something more than a pizza at your house if you get hungry.
And it's funny you say that. That's exactly it. Pizza was always, hey, easy delivery, easy to get, and now people can order from their nicest restaurant. We had some people in town yesterday, and a couple of them did some Uber Eats. They didn't get any cocktails, but so it is a convenience thing. I think people have learned to use it more, and they want that pre-made drink. Maybe they have a nice drink at that location. So your craft cocktails and things like that you maybe can't do as well at home. Maybe you're not quite as talented as the bartender, and so you can order that. And like I said, it says it has to come sealed, so it has to be in a sealed container with no straw hole or perforation. So obviously, if the patron takes it out, they need to leave it sealed until they get home. But it is able to be done, and it really has helped with carry out and also, like I said, craft cocktails and different things like that.
All right, then that is, you're the Michigan Licensed Beverage Association, so I don't think beer falls into your jurisdiction, or does it?
Well, no, actually, we represent anybody with a liquor license.
Okay.
So we're the only trade organization, and we've been around since 1939, that to be a full member, you have to have a license to sell any kind of alcohol. So we represent what we call on-premise, off-premise, hotels, golf courses. And so this plays into that. Anywhere where we say that's an on-premise location now can sell these drinks to go. Not your stores. They have to sell the already packaged items. But the on-premise who traditionally couldn't sell a drink or a cocktail pre-made now can do that.
All right, so just as a reminder to people watching, if they've not been taking advantage of it, if you're getting some carry out, if you're going out for a meal, if you want to take dessert home, you could take dessert home and maybe that special margarita or something very unique. Are the establishments in Michigan, have they really seized on the opportunity, like you mentioned, of that one restaurant in Lansing, to create some very unique packages that people could take home with them?
There are quite a few that have created, some are keeping it simple and just have a sealed cup and making it easy. Others are making something special and really taking advantage of the marketing with that. And so, yes, I think you're seeing people, now it's become just an add-on to their current income, right? So they're already getting food carry out. Now they add on maybe an extra $5 to $7 to $8 of a drink, and that all adds up over time. So yeah, I think, not every bar does it. It plays into their choice if it's something they want. But at the same time, there are people that are seizing the moment.
All right, Scott Ellis is joining us. He's the executive director of the Michigan Licensed Beverage Association, and they work with, represent, help, support all of these establishments. Some of our favorite places to go after work, and all around the state of Michigan. Thank you for being here with us today, and good work on this issue. I think it's going to be great for everybody. Just remind people to be careful. So, how are you guys doing right now? I know there's still a little bit of challenge with getting the employees that we need to keep these establishments, yours and others, running at capacity around the state of Michigan. How's it going, Scott?
Well, we had the Licensed Beverage Association had our annual lobby day yesterday, and so we met with several legislators throughout the day. We had about 75 people here, and that's one of the topics that we're still facing is staffing. The other thing is the increase in cost of goods. The increase in cost of goods have continued to rise. Your prices for tomatoes, lettuce, you name it, and so we've had to continually increase our menu prices just literally to stay where we're at. And so the industry's definitely bouncing back. We're looking forward to summer and everybody getting out and about, but it is definitely the inflation, I think, is our number one, and then I think number two would be staffing. We're still struggling to get people back into work. It's a tough industry. You're out, you're servicing people, and it can be tough as a server to sometimes put up with people, and so we're working on it.
And people got to chill out. We all have to chill out. Just be cognizant that when you go somewhere, maybe you don't have to be in so much of a hurry all the time, right? And take a look around, and if you see that the wait staff that you're working with has got like 20 tables, then clearly they're a little overwhelmed. And I agree with what you're saying. I think sometimes consumers, they feel because they're signing the check, can treat the people that they're interacting with however they want, and the customer's always right. But it doesn't mean that you need to be a jerk either, right?
No, and that's we literally had discussions about that yesterday. We think COVID has changed some of the mental health and some the way some people behave or react. But some of the things too that we have to be cognizant of. You'll go into a restaurant and you'll see maybe a bunch of tables that are empty, and they'll tell you have a 20-minute wait. And people don't understand that. It's not that they don't have the seating capacity. They don't have the staff to keep up, and you're going to end up sitting at a table for 20 minutes and being upset that you're not being waited on. So just keep that in mind when you go in somewhere and go, hey, man, there's 5 open tables. Why won't they seat me? It's because they want to make sure you have good service and the food comes out properly and well. That's all timing, and everything works that way. And if they can't keep up, they can't seat you.
Well, and just before we go, what's happened in your industry and the associated industries here in the state of Michigan is absolutely remarkable. What's happened with beer, what's happened with distilleries, it's created a whole new market, tons of excitement. Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, I don't know, they're like fighting each other for which one is going to be beer series. But I mean, this has turned into a huge deal for us here in the state of Michigan. Generally positive on all fronts.
It has, and what we always forget is Michigan is such an agricultural state. So we have the best wheat and rye and corn to make these distilled spirits right here in our backyard. And so I agree, it has increased and grown over the years. They become the local community neighborhoods, and then you go to your store and buy that same product. So we are seeing a growth, and we're very happy with that. We just got to keep plugging away, and hopefully some price of commodities drop soon.
All right, if people are looking for an opportunity in your industry, they're looking for employment, what would your advice be for somebody that wants to make a career on either the customer service side or the ownership side, or, what would your thoughts be about that for our audience with the minute we have left?
That's a great question, and we're always encouraging people. The biggest thing is go into your establishment, make sure it's a fit for you, somewhere you would like to work, you like the atmosphere, it looks like a nice place. Go in and put that application in, and then just be willing to learn and be willing to work. It is a hard industry. It is an industry where you are busy and you are customer service, so you have to be friendly, but you can make a great career out of it. You can make great money. You can meet a lot of people, and you can really, people are happy when they have a nice service and they have nice food. They remember it.
All right, Scott, one final thing. Your office is in Lansing. How much grief do you take for all that U of M stuff that's right behind you?
A lot. I have the Capitol right here. When people come in, I take a lot of grief, but I am a diehard fan.
All right, yeah, I saw the Harbaugh poster up there. Somebody gave me a hard time because I had a piece of art on one of our state of Michigan promotional flyers, and I only had the maize and blue, and I didn't notice it, and they said, "Are you kidding? Where's the Michigan State logo? Come on, you gotta represent both." So
there is some different battle. I love every bit of it.
Scott, thank you very much. Thanks for your hard work, and good luck on getting this legislation passed through, and we will keep in touch with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Executive Director, Michigan Licensed Beverage Association, Scott Ellis, joining us this morning. Thank you very much for watching. Do take advantage of this. I think a lot of people don't even know that you can carry out beverages and take them home, and that's a really nice solution to it. And really, if you do it properly and think about it, it can be a safer solution. Instead of feeling like you have to have that last drink, have them package it up and take it home, drive home safely. You'll be a lot better off. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Very good to be with you. My name is Dave Scott. Tyler Keefe is taking the week off. We are bringing you today a very special edition, an extended edition of the Splash Live and the MegaCast. Thanks for watching.
You're watching and listening to your home for Greater West Bloomfield News, Civic Center TV and 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, 89.3 Lakes FM.
Tyler Keefe is out for the week, so the great thing is we get to spend a little bit more time together. And my friends in the business have all written me a note and said, Dave, you being on TV this long every day is not a good idea. So we're going to come bail you out. On the line with us right now is legendary Detroit area broadcaster. You hear him every day in the Mitch Albom Show at WJR. Let's say hello to Kevin O'Neill. Hi, Kevin. How you doing?
Oh, fine, Dave. So thank you so much for having me on.
Well, it's great to have you here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get all your video set up. But Kevin, I am looking right now, and our audience is seeing some of these pictures that you would love. I'll send you copies of them. It's a blast in the past of your radio career and all the different radio stations you've worked at, and you look much younger.
Well, most of those pictures were taken with flash bulbs, I'll have you know, Dave.
Well, it's really good. Hey, it's good to talk to you.
You too.
We do, under sad circumstances, the passing of Gordon Lightfoot just a couple of days. He had a great life, 84 years strong.
Yes.
And, for us, especially us here in the metropolitan Detroit area, he had a huge impact because, he was living right across the border in Canada, and we heard so much Canadian music because of CKLW and these rules that the Canadian radio stations had to play Canadian artists. But, I think Gordon Lightfoot would have persevered through all that anyway, would have been a huge star, regardless of where he was from.
Well, Dave, I was so lucky I want to say probably about 20 years ago or so, I emceed his show at the Fox Theater, one of his many shows, and he was so appreciative of Detroit and of CKLW. He mentioned several times how his career just was this town and that radio station in particular really helped to shoot him into stardom. He was very appreciative, very humble, and as you said, that's correct. A certain percentage of music on the Canadian stations, even the border towns, had to be either Canadian written, performed, or produced, and the CanCon rules, they called them. So artists like Gordon Lightfoot, Anne Murray, of course, got a lot of airplay on the stations near the border, like CKLW. So he was, again, very appreciative.
Well, and I think of his biggest hits, Sundown, If You Could Read My Mind, Carefree Highway, Rainy Day People, but certainly to us here in Michigan, probably no bigger hit than The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that came along in 1976, and I remember being at a meeting, a disc jockey meeting. I was working at WGAR Radio in Cleveland at the time, and the program director said, we got a new record here, and this is a long song. As you'll recall, Dave, in those days, you didn't play a lot of long songs on AM radio, AM Top 40, but he said, I think this song really has impact, and I think we're going to play it, and we're not going to do an edit. We're going to play it all the way through. And the first time we heard it, we just sat there going, wow. I mean, this really hits home. So, yeah, that was a landmark in his career. I also remember the first time I ever saw Gordon Lightfoot, Dave. That was 1971. It was in South Bend, Indiana. And he was very new on the scene then, new for a lot of the American audience. But his album, Sit Down, Young Stranger, had just come out, and on that album was the cut "If You Could Read My Mind." Well, that cut just took off nationally, and it was so strong that Reprise Records decided to rename that album "If You Could Read My Mind." So if you see, and it was the same cover, same photograph, everything was the same except the title of the album. So if you see that album with the title "Sit Down Young Stranger," it's a sort of a collector's item. There's not a lot of them around anymore, but that was really my introduction to Gordon Lightfoot. He was around, of course, before that, the 60s. There's old film clips of his being introduced on the Canadian equivalent to American Bandstand, which was hosted by Alex Trebek. And it shows Alex introducing this new singer, Gordy Lightfoot, called him Gordy. And again, that was the 60s. He got a lot of attention in 66, 67, a song called Early Morning Rain. It was a hit in Canada, not too much attention in the U.S. However, Elvis Presley loved that song. And if Elvis is a fan of your music, well, you're going to be getting a lot of attention here in the States, which he did. So Elvis performed that song, did it in concert a lot, and that helped Gordon Lightfoot's career also here in the U.S.
So when you were sitting in the radio station listening to songs, and you and the program directors would try to decide, hey, we're going to play this guy, or that one doesn't quite make it, what do you think might have really attracted program directors and audiences across the country to Gordon Lightfoot and his music?
Well, with the station I worked at, specifically, Dave, WGAR, we were top 40, but we leaned a little more to the easy listening side. So all of his music just fit our formats so well. We would add, as they say, out of the box, we'd add pretty much everything that he came out with, even his later hits, The Circle is Small, A Day Like Katie, which weren't really major hits, but we played all of them. So on the adult contemporary type stations, he got a ton of airplay. But again, even on the top 40, the hardcore top 40s, your WLS, WCFL stations like that in Chicago, he got a lot of airplay just because the songs were just so good.
Well, and really, he was what we would call a crossover artist, because you're right.
Yes.
He would play on the adult contemporary, or the easier, softer stations, but a lot of rock and roll radio stations too, especially in the later years, would
sure.
play, because he just had so much, character. I think it was his tonal quality, and this is, I think, pretty high praise, his Bob Dylan-esque lyrics, that were just so unique. When you heard a Gordon Lightfoot song on the radio, there was no question as to what you were listening to.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Bob Dylan, because Gordon Lightfoot was one of Bob Dylan's favorites. I mean, when Gordon Lightfoot was inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame, I don't know if that's the actual name, but the inductee, Gordon Lightfoot was being inducted, and the person who introduced him was Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan said what a great honor it was to introduce one of his favorite songwriters. And he said, I can't think of any Gordon Lightfoot song I don't like. That's very high praise from Bob Dylan.
Well, no question about it. And the guy just, he had so much impact on us. Let's go back to the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That was one of those songs, kind of like, I think, of Cats in the Cradle, kind of out of that era, and other songs. Yes. It was one of those story songs, right, where you would just get so captivated by it. And the way he told the story of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, I thought was just very unique and very interesting, with the words and the way he told that very sad story in that song. And I wonder whether the Edmund Fitzgerald story would have been anywhere near as big without Gordon Lightfoot's song.
Yeah, I don't believe so, Dave. I mean, I think the song really helped the people's awareness of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Now, the song did take some criticism. I remember there were some people saying, "Oh, he's exploiting these sailors that die. And no, that was not the case at all. I mean, he donated money to their families. I mean, he really wanted to preserve the legacy of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It wasn't out just to make a buck by putting the song out. And as far as the production of the song, of course, the lyrics are phenomenal. They tell the story so well. But as you know, Dave, there's so much of what makes a hit song, a popular song, is the production element and that music. When that first note hits, it's like you can see that you can just feel the waves and the cold. The song gives you a chill in a number of ways. You just feel the cold of that November night. I mean, it's so well produced. It's just a fantastic record.
Yeah, all of his songs were, and more of his pop ballads were elegant and simplistic all at the same time, and that's always a big key for success. So I can't think of anyone I would have rather talked to on this day to tell the stories. You met him, you saw him in concert, you interacted with Gordon Lightfoot through his career and your radio career, and I appreciate you taking a moment. So.
Dave, such a pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you about Gordon Lightfoot and just about music and radio. It's a real honor to be on with you.
Well, we could do this for hours. People can listen to you every day on WJR and the Mitch Albom Show. Mitch, a good mutual friend. You guys have to be. It sounds like you're having a ball there every day.
We do, Dave. Thank you. Yeah, it's a wonderful show. It's on 5 till 7 on WJR AM 760, or you can listen to it online. And we cover everything. We do some sports. We do the news. We do some serious things. We do a number of song parodies. I write most of the song parodies and produce them with a guy named C.D. Henderson, who is the master mixer. So we have a lot of fun on the show, and it's I've always told Mitch, I said, this is the best 2 hours of my day. I really enjoy this. Yeah.
Well, you bring that bygone era of radio and all of the great musical memories the stories that only you know from your years being on the air in so many places up and down the dial, and Kiss FM and all the other radio stations you've been on here in Metro Detroit, WOMC, and I've worked at a couple of them, and every radio station seemed to go, hey, there's Kevin O'Neill. So
I've been very blessed. It's funny, Dave, because I have been let go from 7 jobs in my radio career. People go, oh my God, 7. But I'm so blessed that I've been able to stay in the Detroit area. I grew up in Cleveland. I was working in Houston when I got the job here in Detroit at WDRQ in 1980, and I've been in the Detroit area since 1980, and I'm so grateful for that.
Bravo, congratulations! And if you don't get fired, if you don't get fired 3, 4, 5, or 6 times in this business, you're nothing. You got to get fired in this business.
You got to do it, yeah.
Kevin, we got to go. Thank you very much, Kevin O'Neill. Tune in to him on WJR, and thank you very much for being with us, Kevin.
Thanks so much, Dave. Let's do it again.
All right, and we got to scoot too. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Dave Scott. This is a special edition of the Splash Live and the MegaCast.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
The West Bloomfield Youth Assistants will be recognizing local youth for their volunteer service, personal growth, and leadership. Join us as schools, hospitals, and religious organizations nominate the up-and-comers in your community. Show your pride for our future. The Youth Recognition Awards, May 10th at 6 p.m. at the West Bloomfield Middle School. This community update from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine.